Hey y'all, hey, Heather here. Another video, washing my hair. But I want to get on here and I want to share something that I have not shared before. So, some of you know, a lot of you don't know, I am a divorcee. And I got divorced after only 2 years of marriage. Welcome to my story. How y'all doing today? I hope y'all are well on this beautiful Saturday. It is a little before noon Eastern Standard Time. It is going to be in the 80s today. And I wanted to just get on here and share. So I figured, why not? So I married somebody. I made the decision to get married. It was my decision. I wasn't forced into it. Nobody put a gun to my head or a knife to my throat. So I'm not even going to do that whole blame game. But I got married to somebody who told me some untruths. So when we got married, I was 28, I want to say. And I did not pay attention to the red signs, to the red flags. Red signs, red flags, whatever you want to call it. Excuse me, something dropped. So, because I didn't pay attention to those red flags, and I don't know if it was just me wanting to be married or if I was just looking to fill a void because I was still pretty young. 20s is pretty young, but I don't think 28 is too young to get married. So I met him through a mutual friend at the time, and I normally didn't meet anybody through friends. I normally kind of just met people on my own, so that was the first time I did that. And so I do that, and we start talking, and when I met him, he would wear a uniform to perpetrate that he was working at this particular place. Now, I've never been the type to micromanage. I've never been the type to stalk. I'm not coming up to your job. I'm not constantly calling your phone to figure out what you're doing, who you're with, and where you are. That's not who I am. I never have been, and I never will be that person. I am using the Mane and Tane shampoo with olive oil and keratin oil. That's what I'm using. So, we start talking, we start dating. And I take him around the family, and everybody has mixed feelings. Of course, your siblings are more on some, if this is what you want, all right, you know. But it was like other family members that kind of were a little on the leery side, but kind of was like, you grown, so you make your own choices, because everybody in my family knows I'm going to do what I want to do, regardless of how anybody else feels or what anybody else has to say about it. That's how I was back then, especially. So, we're dating, and some of the red flags are as follows. Supposedly, he had an event or a incident happen where he wasn't answering his phone, and for me, it was more so of, oh my God, like did something happen? And he wouldn't call me back. He was just texting. He wouldn't answer. He wouldn't call back. And this is before we got married. That's a red flag right there. Because why can't you call me back, right? But I didn't see it as a red flag. I was busy. I was working. I was doing all kinds of stuff, right? So, peradventure, we keep dating. I wound up moving in with someone, a mutual person between us, and we became roommates. And he was there a lot, her boyfriend was there a lot, and everything was everything. And then I broke my ankle. When I broke my ankle, everything took a turn because I needed him to do certain things for me. And I thought at this point in the relationship, there was a level of trust there. Because I had been in relationships in the past, and there was levels of trust where I had keys to people's apartments and all of that, you know. And he didn't have a key, but I would give him my key, and I would ask him to go do stuff for me. Like, I'd give him my debit card to go do stuff for me. Hindsight being 2020, that was a red flag back then, because I never asked for it back and he never offered it back. But alright, so move on. I break my ankle. I go get into it with who I'm living with. She comes and tells that he has a drug problem, and I should have known, and all this I should have known. She said she thought I knew, and all this other stuff, right? Now, I didn't see what we would call the telltale signs of having a drug problem at the time, because number one, I wasn't paying attention. And having a drug problem, it's not always going to be something that physically shows in your face. It just depends on where you are and your addiction. A lot of times it shows in your behaviors. And so, he had some strange, questionable behaviors, but again, red flag that I ignored. So, go on in life, and we moved with my sister. May she rest in peace. And she and him became cool. Like, they had a real cool relationship. So then, after, I want to say, maybe 9 months of living there, we got a place. I kept saying, I want to move, I want to move. I love my sister. It was very fun living with her, but it was just too many people living in there, and there was not enough space for everybody. So we finally moved, get an apartment. Here's red flag number 2. The apartment was in my name, not in my name and his name. I did not ask the why behind it just being in my name, because I was so fixated on getting a place and moving. So we got this 2-bedroom apartment. It was a basement apartment, but it was 2 bedrooms, nice sized bathroom, then a closet in the hallway. Each bedroom had a nice sized closet. There was a big storage closet in the hallway, and then there was the kitchen. There was a living room and dining area. The living room was a nice size, had a coat closet. This apartment was $650 a month for a 2-bedroom. We just paid for electric, so it's very affordable. Right. So we then get married. So we got married on New Year's Eve, and then had a ceremony in March of the following year. Right? Now, a lot of people had their different feelings about that, you know, because only the church family was at the wedding for New Year's Eve. And then when we had the regular wedding, we had people there, his family, some of my family, blah, yada, yada. You know, 2 of my sisters didn't show up for their own personal reasons, and we get married. So, we got married, and everything was going okay. Now, he was still, we were living with my sister, he was still wearing those uniforms for this particular job. So when we moved, I helped him reinstate his license. I helped him get a car. And things were starting to look good. We had the apartment, we had the car, he had a license. Got him a job working for CC Connect, I think that's what it was. Everything was good. Or so I thought. And we were talking to our pastor about renting one of his houses from him, because he had houses that he rented. And one day, my pastor had contacted me and said he had a place available or whatever. And so we went to go see it. Let's see, bedroom. Wasn't too far from the church. Yeah. Wasn't too far from where we were currently living. So it was fine. So him and my ex-husband talk about it, and somehow, some way, he goes through with applying for it. Now, I wasn't there for the process when he went to apply for the apartment. But then I got one of my sister's girlfriends took me to the side and told me about him and another woman. And I just was like, okay, and I took into what she said, and then I moved to be my own drum. I don't just move because somebody tells me to. So on my birthday, I'm cleaning up the house. His pants are in the living room. So I went to go remove them from the living room. Right? So when I removed them from the living room, let me turn this water off so y'all can hear me before I go to my next wash. Drop something, hold on. When I removed the pants in the living room, a piece of paper fell out. And it was a love letter that he wrote professing his love for this girl. So I confronted him about it, and mind you, this is my birthday. I confronted him about it, and I told him, you know, if you want us to work, you gotta cut all ties with her. I would see him in the living room, like whispering on the phone, and then when I came in, he would put the phone down like he wasn't on the phone. I ignored it because, again, I'm not that type of person. But as time progressed, more people were coming to me about it. So apparently you were being seen in public, right? This is still my first shampoo, guys. I just didn't want to lose all my hot water while I'm talking to y'all. So I finally say enough is enough. And I decide, let me go talk to the pastor. So the pastor was telling me how when he ran our stuff for the house, it came up that we were about to be evicted from our apartment. I bawled my eyes out. He said, you didn't know. I said, no, because he's over the finances. And now I got to find somewhere to go because they can come any day and lock these doors. My sister had stayed with me the week leading up to Easter, and I told her she had to come get her stuff. I left $20 in the bottom of her bag. She had my spare key. I told her, get the cab. I have the money for the cab there and back. Come get your stuff and call me when you get home. I packed my stuff up. I called a cab. They told me it was going to be 45 minutes. I told them, I said, I got to get out before that, and I need a, what are those cabs called? I need a minivan cab because I have to move. I told him it was, you know, I had to kind of fib a little bit. I said it was a domestic thing, but this man ain't never put his hands on me. He knew better than that. I got 5 brothers. But they came within 15 minutes, moved my stuff out, and I put my stuff in the basement of a church member's house for a little bit before I moved it completely out of there. And so I did that, and I think I spent 1 or 2 nights at her house, and I went and I stayed between my 2 late sisters, Rochelle and Keisha. I stayed between their houses. And so during that time, I got all the suds out almost. But during that time, I was staying back and forth. My sister and her husband moved somewhere. And then I decided, all right, well, I'll just be their neighbor, and got an apartment downstairs from where they were. It was the funnest time of life. Let me turn this water back on. When I tell you that was fun times for me, I was able to go upstairs and spend time with my sister whenever I wanted to. We were doing like sister stuff. Like we were going shopping because we lived down 69th Street at the time. We was going shopping. We was going out to eat. We was ordering in. We was doing all kind of stuff. And it was because where I worked, I made a little decent amount of money for the time that we were in. And so we were spending time and we were having fun, and he was popping up, and I remember my brother-in-law was like, he's not going to keep playing with her. Either he's going to take this seriously and get the help he needs, or he needs to leave her completely alone. And so he came to say goodbye or whatever. Said his goodbyes. And when he said his goodbyes, it was supposed to be to go get help. Well, he never got the help. So I actually moved with a cousin to Chester County to get out of Philadelphia. I won't tell you where, because Chester County, your imagination can run. But I moved out of Philadelphia County to Chester County at the time, just to kind of, something is always falling, just to get a new start. And I was telling her what happened. She was like, you can come stay here. I don't have much space, but we family would make it work. And that we did. It was her husband, her 3 kids, and me. And a 2-bedroom. So we made it work. And I filed for divorce. And so I had to hire a private investigator to find him, because he kept telling my attorney he wanted his marriage and this and that, and he didn't want a divorce and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, my attorney's going to be the mouthpiece. I changed my number so we didn't have contact. He didn't know how to find me, and he wasn't going to call my family. And if he did call that one sister, she wasn't going to tell him nothing. So, second shampoo. After that, sorry guys, I keep going in and out because this stuff keeps falling. But after that, we had got a private investigator. That's how we found him, because he didn't really go by his name. Nothing was really in his name. It was like you really couldn't find him. So I got a private investigator, and they found him. We did restricted mail with receipt. Excuse me, soap in my eye. So we did restricted mail with receipt. And we finally got him. He didn't know what he was signing for. He just knew he was signing for mail for himself. He didn't know that it was for the divorce, so he signed for it. And in Pennsylvania, I don't know about other states, but in Pennsylvania, as soon as you had a restricted mail with receipt, the judge gives you 90 days to appeal. If you don't appeal, he pushes or she pushes the divorce through. So in 90 days, which was February, my divorce went through. It was final. What did I lose in the divorce? I lost $10,000 that I had in savings. I lost the apartment that was in my name, which put all that on my credit report. I lost the paycheck that had just came through. I lost all my furniture. I lost where I was used to living. I lost a lot of stuff, material things. But what I really lost, I lost myself in a moment. And I lost myself in that marriage because I let him control a lot. And it was because I feel like, and I still feel like to this day, you should be able to trust your spouse to do what they say that they're going to do. But I also feel like you need to make sure you marry the right person. Because when you marry the right person, you don't have to second guess that. You shouldn't have to ask for receipts to see that they paid for what they said they were going to pay for. And that's the one thing that really got me with this situation. And what I learned was marriage can be a beautiful thing if it's done right. You need to be honest in your marriage. You need to be honest in all your relationships. And you need to take the time to get to know who you are going to marry before you marry them, because there are growing pains in marriage, and there are things that you don't learn before you get married, but there are certain things that you can learn. Like, you know if somebody is honest. You learn if somebody is a liar, is a cheat, if they are manipulative. You learn that stuff in the dating or the courtship. You don't wait until you get married to learn that stuff. And that's something that really, really, really impacted me. So, in a nutshell, that right there is my divorce chronicles. I'm going to finish washing my hair, and I'm going to bid you adieu. I hope you guys learned something from this. I ask that you would like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm trying to grow my channel. I'm going to do more on my channel. Just give me time because I'm healing from surgeries. And I want to be more authentic. I want to grow this community. I want to connect with people that are going through similar things. If you've been through a divorce, drop it in the comments. If you have any questions, you can drop it in the comments, or all of my information will be in the cards, and you will be able to leave me an email if needed. But please subscribe. We are trying to grow this channel to 500 people by 4th of July. That's about a month and a half. I think we can do it. So please subscribe. And when you subscribe, hit that post notification bell so that you are alerted every time I upload a new video. And if you know somebody that can get something from this, please share. Have a wonderful weekend. Shine like the star you are. Bye.